And it's my great pleasure next to introduce Dr Ros Altmann, who, to my great personal delight last year, was appointed by the government as the Older Workers Business Champion. And I can't think of a finer person, Ros, to take up that role than your good self. I've been a huge admirer of Ros personally for at least a decade, for her bravery, actually, in putting herself forward to represent the rights of members of pension schemes against many of the both the industry and the government's attempts to do something that she wasn't totally approving of. So Ros, I think you're a fantastic person, and it's a delight to have you here today.
Thank you so much. I need to use this. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. It's great to see so many people here to discuss and talk about this really important issue. I've been really excited to be involved with this project. As Dean said, I was there right at the start. We met and talked about how important it is to understand customers. When you've got the pensions freedom, it's really important to make it work properly, to understand what people think. And as I've said in the first line of my foreword for the report, pensions have never, for me, been just about money. They are about people. And what we're dealing here with is an industry that has provided default options for people's money for years, but by definition that doesn't engage them in the decisions and in understanding the decisions that may need to be made about pensions. So as our ageing population reaches retirement, we have to make sure we can help them make decisions for themselves now, because freedom and choice, in my view, is absolutely right. People shouldn't just be told what to do or herded into a one-size-fits-all product. That may be right for them, but it may not be. So in order to understand what people know, you have to ask them some questions. So that's what we did with this survey. And I thank all the sponsors for their support. They put their money up to actually finance this, and it is really important. But what it's revealed for me, yet again, is the shockingly low level of pensions understanding. And what I've highlighted here is that it is particularly the case for women, and we tend to overlook this. But however bad the public levels of understanding are, when you look at older women, and this is people aged 50 to 70, 80 to 90% of women do not understand, even quite well, a joint life annuity, an enhanced annuity, income drawdown, or marginal tax rate. These are crucial to making the right kind of decisions. They have been for years. They've not understood it in the past. So it's hardly a wonder that shopping around in your open market option didn't work, because people didn't have a clue what they would be even shopping around for, or how to make basic decisions. But these are not just people who don't understand finance at all. They understand mortgages, they understand savings accounts. It's pensions. And these basic elements of pensions that people have not understood, partly because we've had this culture of default options. You know, don't worry about making a decision, leave it to the experts and they'll look after your money for you. And I think clearly here, the role of the new pensions-wise guidance is going to be crucial. But that also needs to bear in mind how basic the level of understanding currently is. And there is a big job to do to help people understand any information that they're given. We've got to get the level of financial education up. I would hope that this pension-wise guidance is going to be the start of a national programme of financial education and information, which should be, in my view, embedded into auto-enrolment, not just telling people about the things they need to know at the point of retirement. However, it's right that you've got to start somewhere, and that is the most important place to start. But with auto-enrolment reaching people, I'd like to see guidance and information as a crucial part of any auto-enrolment pension scheme. So, as we've heard, what do people say they want? Well, they say they want a guaranteed income for life, understandable, but they importantly want that income guaranteed to increase with inflation so they can pay their bills over the years, into their 90s. Now, most people simply aren't saving enough for this. These objectives are pretty conflicting, especially right now with inflation-linked annuities being such poor value. Therefore, we've got this conflict between the security that people want and the adequacy of the savings levels. So what are their options? Well, they've got a few, but they need to understand what this is all about. Firstly, saving more, obvious. And I do think the pension freedoms have the potential to get people to save more. They will make pensions more user-friendly if we can help people understand things. Working longer, I think for me that's a bit of a no-brainer. It's an obvious one. You know, the higher your lifetime income, the later your pension starts, the more money you've got in the first place, the better you will be later on, which means perhaps starting your pension later, not just when you get your wake-up letter from your provider thinking, well, I've got to immediately do something. You might have the option to wait. So again, the guidance needs to help people understand the important implications of the timing. What I call the 3 T's need to be the basis, perhaps, of this guidance. T number 1, the tax implications. There are tax reasons to keep your money in a pension fund, not take it out. People need to know that, as well as the tax implications of taking the money out and the penalties that you'll pay and the money that you will lose. The type of product clearly is going to be important. People need to understand what you're talking about with the products that they've got on offer. And the timing, again, you know, the do-nothing option has attractions. Working longer is going to be the norm. It is already happening, and it will increasingly be so. With flexible working, people might have a few different pension funds. They could take one but leave the other. And I would just like to finish with a plea to the FCA, which is, as we've heard already, to recognise the need for extra protection for people, particularly at the moment. Bearing in mind this enormous gap between what people should understand and what they do understand, and the risk that so many won't take up the guidance and won't, in any case, get advice which they might really need to be able to make good decisions. How about some extra customer protection? We know we need it. And at the moment, providers don't have this kind of duty of care. They don't have to even ask you the most basic questions before you buy an irreversible product, before you make an irreversible decision, such as with your health. You know, if you haven't asked somebody whether they are unwell, selling them a standard annuity doesn't seem so bad. But as soon as you say, this product assumes you're in excellent health, and you ask somebody, are you in excellent health, and they say no, you will know that product isn't suitable for them. It's not that difficult. And also, I think, to explain via the guidance the real benefits of taking advice. There's a huge potential to improve the way pensions work for the people who save in them. But, as we know, there's also a huge challenge to ensure that they understand the basic elements of the ways in which pensions work. So I hope that we will get this right, and thank you again to the sponsors for revealing and helping us to reveal and discuss these really important issues.